How you doing, YouTube? Today we're back with a brand new video. Today's video is going to be a follow-on to the last one posted, and that was the video of me plasterboarding the ceiling. We have one more video from this job, and it was to reskim a room. Now I've already on this. When I'm doing this ceiling, I plasterboard the ceiling in that other room, which is a similar size, and then just outside the door is a small hall ceiling, which we also skimmed. So skimming the room is just it's just the four walls. Yeah, so I just want to take an opportunity to let you know that if you enjoy watching the channel and you just want to go over and have a look at my Patreon, you can sign up. It's a monthly thing, and basically you sign up and you get extra videos, shout outs on videos, stuff like that there. Or probably the better option for most people would be I have some Amazon affiliate links. So what the affiliate links are, you click on the affiliate link and it'll bring you to a link to one of the tools that I'm using, and if you buy the tool I get a commission. If you don't buy the tool but you click search and search for something else that you were going to buy anyway, I'll also get a commission on that. So it's a good way to support me without actually spending more money than you were going to in the first place. And as I say, all the tools that I use are in the description. The affiliate links are all there. Yeah, any money that I get from that's all going to be put back into videos. So whether it's buying new equipment for videos, GoPros, editing, stuff like that there, or actually buying tools for review, stuff like that there. Yeah, so basically we're going to skim the ceiling, and as all the other skimming videos, you know, I follow a very certain pattern. So I'll go around this ceiling, I'll pick one spot, usually the right hand side, because I'm left-handed, and I'll start from the right and work my way around in a circle, and then that same corner I start from every time, no matter what way I'm trialing the ceiling. So we'll also just fill in the centre here. Luckily there was no lights or anything, so it made the ceiling nice and easy. But you'll see I actually straight away, because I have another ceiling in the small ceiling, I actually use the speed skim just to straighten the ceiling to make sure that there's no lines or bumps, and you can see like it leaves it pretty flat, which is a massive bonus. If anybody's thinking about getting themselves one of these, definitely do. Now this one has seen its day. So it actually left it sitting on the ground and a client run over it in their car. But it still works. Fortunately, I only actually use it to flatten the first coat down. The reason I do this is because it draws moisture to the surface, and you don't want that on your second coat. Just because it can make the plaster set quicker, and that's the last thing you want when you're putting loads on. Here you can see, I said in the last video, there was obviously a bit of gap between the plasterboard and the where they took the old ceiling down. So we'll just go around and fill this in with a drop of skim. You have to allow for this on every sort of ceiling repair job, because it's very common to happen when you take a ceiling down, that there's going to be a gap between your new board and the tops of the walls. It's just a common thing that does happen, unfortunately. And then we'll just start our second coat. We're a bit more slow and methodical with our second coat. We're trying to get it as tidy as we can. The reason we do this is if the stuff starts to set, there's not as much effort needed to get it flat. I actually use this as a 16-inch Marshalltown Prima shape, which is relatively big. I think the next trowel I'm going to buy is the 18-inch version of this for putting the plaster on. I used to use one of the little 14 inches, and then when I switched to this, it was like night and day. So I'm going to try the 18-inch just to see. Obviously, after we put it on, we'll close in with this trowel because there's more surface area. But once the plaster starts to harden, we move to a smaller trowel, and that's just because it's more rigid, it's stronger, and you can put more pressure down. And when the plaster starts to harden, it's exactly what you need to be able to put, a lot of pressure down on the ceiling, to flatten out any lumps and bumps. I had a comment of a guy saying about not using flexies, and I just wanted to make it clear in this video that I don't actually use the flexi until the ceiling is almost hard. Like my first two trowels are done with rigid steel trowels, and then my last trowel is done with a flexi. Now this is 2-hour plaster, so we only actually get our 3 trowels on it. If it was a slightly longer to set plaster, I would be doing another trowel with a steel trowel. So if you're using plaster that sets in like 3 hours or whatever, just add another trowel after you use the cutting trowel. Just use a regular steel trowel and give it another trowel before you give it the flexi. And what he said was right about the flexis. Sort of they contort till the shape of the ceiling. So if you use them early on, they'll make your ceiling look nice and smooth at the time. But when you actually, like if you were to cast light across the ceiling, you would see that there was slight lumps and bumps everywhere. And that's why you want to leave it until the plaster's almost completely hard, before you get on it with a flexi. My old fella, he also has another step after the flexi trowel, and what he'll do is they're like a rubber. I think Rafina do one. They're like a rubber blade. Sort of like their spatulas with a rubber blade. And what he does is once the plaster's set but hasn't started, has just set basically, or the next morning, first thing in the next morning, he'll actually give it a good polish with one of them. And he says that leaves for a better job, but if you ask me, the next morning the plaster's already set. So basically all you're really doing is polishing the surface, which most painters don't like anyway, but that's also a step. And we also had a few people on saying about using sponges, and the method I use with my brush is similar to using a sponge, but British Gypsum and Gyprock, the people that make this plaster, and for the boys in England that use the British Gypsum multi-finish, both of them companies have actually said that you're not really meant to sponge their plasters up, that it weakens the finished plaster. Now people's been doing it from here. It was here for years. It was a method brought over by Polish plasters, believe it or not. Because their plaster is completely different. They basically sponge and then they trowel it with big spatulas. So yeah, that's where it originally came from. But British Gypsum's actually said it's a no-no for their product. So just be careful. You're not, voiding any warranties that if the plaster does fail. But yeah. So we've just got over it here. We give it its hard trial, and this is, we are now coming at it with the we're hitting it with its next trial. You can see here the way the brush, it's really clear on this ceiling, the way the brush actually agitates the plaster. And you can see sort of the lines and stuff. If you look up where it says Danny Surgeon there, you can see like the lines in the plaster. And this is one of the reason why I posted this video separately is because this is like a really clear and obvious it's really clear and obvious. We can actually see the change in the plaster using this cutting trowel. So you're brushing and you're loosening up the surface, and then you're putting lots of pressure down. You're troweling as hard as you can, and you're trying to make the ceiling look uniform. It's even more obvious standing underneath it. You can see the difference between the stuff that you have troweled and the stuff that you haven't. But you can see even here in this video, like there's a marked difference. So you're going to see here in a minute. We'll start to take all these lines out here, the visible ones that are just above my head now. So this is the first stroke that's going to take that big visible line out. And you'll see it here when we come across. And you can see now that line's gone. And this is the main part here. And we're going to come across, and this is going to take that big line out of it as well. And as you can see, like it's really noticeable. And now you can see lines coming the other way, but they're not actually lumps or bumps anymore. They're just the them lines you can see coming from one side to another. It's just the difference in pressure on the front and the back of the trowel. I'll like run the ceiling one way, and then I'll come back and trowel out this angle that I'm walking to. You can take the ceiling across and then trowel it out, and then go back and take it across and trowel it out. But I prefer to do it, just take it loads of it across and then come back. And then you'll see here we're going to come across this angle, and we're just going to take the last of it off. The plaster's actually already started to set. You can see, I mean you can't really see it here, but just over above the door where I've already troweled, there's a little bit of black showing through, which is the plaster starting to set. The ceiling in the hall actually set a lot quicker. I troweled them two ceilings first, even though this was the first ceiling I put on. But yeah, if you want to support the channel, just head down into the description, check out the Patreon. You get perks, you can sign up, and it's basically you get extra content and shout outs and stuff for a subscription. Or you can go tell me affiliate links, Amazon affiliate links, also in the description. And basically all you do is you click on it. It's just tools that I use. You buy them, I get a commission, and even if you don't buy them, I still get, like if you like click through to something else, you know, something that you were going to buy anyway, I still get a commission. It doesn't cost you anymore, and it's a good way of supporting me without actually directly supporting me. It's money you were going to spend anyway, so yeah. And it would be much appreciated. All money's going to go back into the channel, like I said, for making videos like GoPro and editing software, stuff like that there. But yeah, so we're getting very close here to finishing. What I'm doing is I'm going around and I'm just troweling the tops of the walls in here. You have to really make sure that you do a good job, because they're actually hard to trowel in, the tops of walls, especially this one, because there was actually linen paper on these walls, and the guy he is going to get these walls skimmed eventually, but I think it was going to be a while, so I wanted basically just to give him something nice and neat and tidy that he get painted until he gets around to getting them done again. So you can see here, we've slightly moved the camera, but the ceiling started to set. You can see what looks like, they sort of look like ripples all over the ceiling. What that actually is the plaster starting to turn colour. It's so like starting to set. And it sets like that from underneath. It sort of like bleeds through the plaster. It's like sort of a marble in effect, and then the ceiling will all go that darker colour before drying out chalky white. If it's a DIYer doing this, I would, if I staying away from the flexi trowel, that's what I'm doing now. I'm using my flexi trowel. But if you're a DIYer, stay away from these. All you're going to really do is give this ceiling another 2 trowels with just a regular steel trowel, probably the same trowel that you've been using the whole way through. If you can find a trowel, like these Prima shapes they're part worn, but which means they're machine worn. They're not sharp enough to skim a ceiling, but they're good for cutting, and that's what we use them for, cutting. We'll cut the plaster with them until they're sharp enough, and then I actually sell the trowels, so that they're, I'll sell them for the same price that I buy them for now. And it's like a proper worn-in trowel, something that would take most people, like a regular plaster, like 6 months to do. So you can actually buy these trowels. And I've seen a few other plasters doing it that use the same system that I do. And it's good for people that, like apprentices and stuff, that want a trowel, but need one that's sharp enough to finish plaster. And all I do is the money that I get for the trowel that I sell, I go back and buy a new one. If you want to check out all my social media, it's in the description. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.